Melanoma is a potentially fatal skin cancer that has the potential to arise on the surface of the skin and possibly travel throughout the body's lymphatic system to invade supporting organs. The skin can be broken down into three layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous layers. The subcutaneous layer is the innermost layer made of fat and connective tissue that absorbs pressure from blows to the bones and joints. Next is the dermis layer, a dense network of collagen fibers that make the skin strong and stretchy, such as the stomach of a pregnant woman. The epidermis is the most superficial layer that contains basal cells, squamous cells, and melanocytes. It also produces keratinocytes that become hard and are pushed to the surface to allow room for the development of new skin. The skin is usually renewed within a matter of 4 weeks, as new cells are made from the internal layers and make their way to the superficial layers. Skin cancer is the abnormal cellular growth resulting in either basal cell carcinoma, which presents itself as a white or brown waxy lump, squamous cell carcinoma, which is seen as a raised and flaky bump, or melanoma. Melanoma stems from melanin, which is a brown pigment within the skin. It's contained within the epidermal layer of the skin and acts as a protective barrier against UV radiation, as well as increasing a response to the exposure, such as from the sun or tanning beds. This results in a more tanned appearance and explains why fairer-skinned people are more at risk of sun damage. Melanoma is the third most common cancer in Australia, according to the Cancer Council. This is falling behind prostate and breast cancer. Males are 1.5 more times likely of developing this over females. However, once they reach the age of 70, this jumps to 3 times more likely. In line with the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, it is expected that in 2020, there will be 16,220 diagnosed cases of melanoma of the skin. This counts towards 11% of the total amount of cancers within Australia. 1,375 people will die from melanoma of the skin, which accounts from 2.9% of all deaths associated with cancer, making it the 10th most common cause of death. This is a decrease from the 2018 figure, which was a total of 1,430 deaths, making it the 9th most common death in Australia.
Hi, nice to meet you, Matt. So, what brings you to the cancer clinic today?
I'm coming for a checkup as I suspect I have a growth.
Yeah, you do? Okay, so do you spend any time exposed to harsh UV radiation, such as in the sun or tanning beds?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so your body's just trying to adapt to protect itself when you do those sort of things. Did you have any family history with skin cancer or melanoma?
Dad got melanoma cut in the back of his neck. Is that bad?
No, it's not. So people with one first degree relative just have a 1.5 chance of developing it over others, but when there's 2 first degree relatives, there's a 9-fold chance. That's okay though. So the best way to keep watch of any abnormal signs is to remember the acronym ABCDE. That just keeps watch of any asymmetry of the border, any colour such as redness, diameters greater than 6 millimeters, and just any elevation. Symptoms that we're looking for today just include any redness, tenderness, itchiness on the skin, any sores that don't heal, or even just a scaly texture on the skin. Does that sound familiar at all?
Yes. I have a cut, and it has a very scaly finish. I've had it for a couple of weeks now.
Oh, okay. So that could be something known as actinic keratosis. It's just a precancerous condition, and it's usually asymptomatic, and it's common in middle-aged people as well. It does go away by itself, that's fine, but we do need to keep an eye on it as it can become cancerous. So we just need to have a look at that mark now. Are you aware of the different types of melanoma?
Can you please explain to me what the other types are?
Firstly, we have superficial, which is the most common and begins as a dark spot with an asymmetric and irregular border. Then we have nodular, which starts as a firm bump, which grows deeper into the skin, and then acral lentiginous, which appears as a dark spot or bruise in a hard-to-reach place, such as on the sole of your feet or palms of the hands. And lastly, there's also lentigo maligna, which starts as an irregularly shaped tan or brown spot that grows slowly over years. Our skin provides a barrier from the sun's harsh UV rays, and therefore our bodies are forced to undergo a process of selective adaptation. The weaker DNA that cannot withstand the damage from the sun dies off while the stronger cells are repaired by the body, resulting in an uncontrolled cellular growth. This is supported as there are increasing studies that suggest people who spend majority of their time inside have an increased risk of sun damage when spending acute and intermittent periods exposed to UV radiation. The continuous growth is supported by the increase in 2 different receptor tyrosine kinases, the first being basic fibroblast growth factor receptor, which is produced by keratinocytes and will experience a 6-fold increase when in the presence of UV radiation. KIT receptors are also responsible as they are expressed by melanocytes in moles and will encourage the increase in melanocyte formation. Excessive stimulation of these receptors allow continual growth of melanocytes, resulting in the tumour-like formation. In addition, the BRAF gene, which usually works in conjunction with other genes to regulate cell growth, will have a mutated response. This reaction allows the cell to be self-sustaining, resulting in a continual cell proliferation. The mutated cells will continue to grow and spread horizontally along the epidermis, penetrating the internal layers of the skin, creating an ulceration. As the cancer continues to develop, there is an increased opportunity for this cancer to metastasize, reaching the blood vessels and lymph nodes of the dermis. This is where the cancer cells break away from the primary tumour and travel through alternate pathways into vital organs such as the lungs. There are 3 major lymph nodes that act as basins, including the cervical, which sits beneath the jaw, the axillary, which is underneath the arm of the side of the chest, and the inguinal nodes, which are located within the groin. It is from these points of action that the destination of the cancer can be determined.